Hello, I am Stephanie and today I'm going to show you how to sculpt hibiscus. It is a simple looking flower, that's why I thought it was a good idea to sculpt it, but in the end it's a little bit more complex than I originally thought. So we are going to start with the petals, and for that I took some wire. I used brass wire, but any type of wire will do. And then I wrap some masking tape all around and cut the excess. So it's fairly easy, nothing too fancy. I decided to do 5 because at that point I didn't quite envision how annoying or how much time it would take to make all those petals. So if you are into it, then go for that, but it's going to take quite some time. So once all the wire is wrapped with masking tape, I then wrap it in clay. So I decided to make the hibiscus in a pink orange tone, but feel free to use whatever color you'd like. Doesn't really matter. So depending on the size on the flowers you are going to want, you are going to make different sizes of petals. So I went for rather large flowers, certainly smaller than the real flowers, but still pretty big. If you want to make much smaller ones, you will need a smaller wire, and so it's not as bulky. And then just go ahead and wrap all your tiny petals. Once all your petals are wrapped, I started adding the seed pods. It's I don't know how it's called, but basically tiny arms where the seeds are. That's so scientific. And you have 5 at the end, and then you have a bunch more. So here I'm just adding 5 tiny ones. And then add it to all the other ones. As I said, I started first with the 5 ones. And now I am adding more. I don't know how much I added. It needs to be a bunch. As usual, it's always good to have reference pictures to be a little bit close to reality if that's your deal. If not, then just do whatever you want. Who am I to tell you what to do? You can, but reference pictures usually help, even if you want to do something that is not realistic. Because if you want to do something that is your own, you need to observe nature beforehand so you can change it and change the shapes or do mixes or whatever. And now you add one tiny, let's just call them arms, one tiny arms after the other. And this is pretty long actually, so at that point you can question your life and question why you are doing this and why you thought this was a good idea to do, because clearly it wasn't, because it took the whole afternoon to finish those 5 little flowers, which is a lot of time for just 5 flowers. And at that point you may ask yourself, why are you doing this? And if you tell me you love to do flowers, then that's good, and I'm really happy for you. I'm not. I don't like to do flowers for some reason, which is annoying because I'm really into botanical art these days. So I don't know, I need to find a way to like doing flowers. I usually find them too dainty. I like oddness. Anyway, so you have made your 5 petals, or 10 or 20 if you're a lunatic, and then you are going to pre-bake them, which is going to make everything a lot easier. So, and now we are going to do the petals, and for that I made a Skinner blend from hot pink, raspberry something to orange. And for some odd reason, my camera decided to stop filming. So yeah, I saw that too late. So if you have no idea what a Skinner blend technique is, I invite you to check out my miniature avocado tutorial where I go much more into details about that one. It's very easy, really. Better explained visually. I started with 2 triangles, basically, you didn't see that. And then I simply roll it through a pasta maker. You could use a rolling pin and do it by hand, but that will take a long time and it's probably not going to be as nice looking, although it might look more organic, so that's fine too. It really depends. I think if you're really into polymer clay, then a pasta maker is something that is quite useful. If you don't really care about polymer clay and just do it once in a while, then you can just skip that. You don't need a gradient of shades. You can also simply make the flowers all pink and then add some color, some acrylic paint after. And here what I did is rolling everything together and then pushing it together, so I have all the shades in one tiny leaf, because that was kind of the idea. And then just put it again through the pasta maker, and here you have the right sizing for your petals. Did I say leaves? I think I said leaves. I meant petals. So you cut out teardrop shape petals and then you want to thin out the sides by pushing it down, and then you want to draw lines on each petal. So I used an embossing tool, a metal embossing tool, but a toothpick will work just as fine, so no need to buy all the tools I use, especially if you do it just for fun. I'm just pinching all the sides to give it that chiffon-like texture that hibiscus flowers usually have. And then I wrap it around the pistil. And of course I repeat for all petals, same technique. So it's pretty easy. And then what I did, since I made 5 flowers, I changed the gradients I used, so I didn't always go from pink to orange, pink being in the middle, but I did it the other way around, and then more orangey, and then more pinkish. So I have 5 flowers that are slightly different in colors, which makes them look a lot more natural than if you have exactly the same gradient on all the flowers you're sculpting, especially if you are making 10 or 20 or hundreds. And lastly, I simply arranged them together, so I would bake them all together. It also helps keep the shape exactly how you want it to be. And I simply pinched the clay a bit together so it sticks. Also, what I did was to add some liquid clay on all the pistils, because those are quite fragile and they might break, which I don't want to. So yeah, this is pretty much it, and it went in the oven. After baking, I added some yellow color on the pistils to replicate the seeds. And I also added some paint on the petals to give them more realism. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe. Don't forget to share to help out this channel, or maybe become a patron over on patreon.com/petitplat. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!